Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Tales of Herding Gods based on novel. So let's start. Chijiryu raised his eyebrows and didn't repeat what he had said, not acquiescing to Qin Mu's demands. His mind was extremely keen, and he noticed the sharp blade hidden in the youth's words straight away. Qin Mu was an expert in mind battles and good at putting pressure on his opponent's mental state. When he met strong practitioners, he would become terrified if that would serve his purposes, and he would run if that would give him what he wanted. But when he met an opponent on his level, he would start to put pressure on the other person's mind from the moment their eyes met. He would first attack the mind and spirit of the opponent to suppress them. Any action or word that looked to be casual was there to add pressure on the other party, turning them into the weaker side. In other words, the opponent's aura would be pressured by him. When this happened, the opponent would begin moving with his rhythm, and when they made their moves, there would be minute changes when they attacked each other. With time, a slight advantage would slowly widen and become the crux of victory or defeat. No matter if it was Pan Gongso or Xu Shenghua, they had both experienced this kind of fighting method when they faced Qin Mu. After experiencing such a thing, mental walls would raise up in some people's heads, and Qin Mu would become the shadow on their Tao heart. Others would begin to treat him as their source of motivation and force themselves to work harder, scaling over mountains after mountains. The former represented Pan Gongso and the latter represented Xu Shenghua and Zhehuali. After Pan Gongso was defeated by Qin Mu over and over again, he had naturally lost the courage to fight him face to face. When they met, he would subconsciously place himself in the position of the loser and fall back before the fight had even started. On the other hand, after Xu Shenghua was defeated by Qin Mu, he fought fiercer and fiercer, even creating a method to combine 6 directions divine treasure and 7 stars divine treasures together. This made Qin Mu have to learn from him sincerely and thus, giving Xu Shenghua an upper hand. After Zhehuali was defeated by Qin Mu, he walked further and further on the path of his knife skills and even chose to save Qin Mu when he saw that he was in danger. Huge improvements could be clearly seen in his Tao heart, and this made Qin Mu felt much pressure. He then used it to enter the path in technique. Even though battles of the mind weren't gorgeous, they were quite a test to the Tao heart. He should have learned this kind of mental attack from this expert who wields the knife. Chijiryu looked at Butcher. This knife god and Sun Sovereign's battle is imminent, yet he took the initiative to return Sun Sovereign's hand bone to him. This is an extremely superior skill to crush the opponent's Tao heart. It may look like he is just returning his hand, but it's actually slashing at the other's Tao heart. Sun Sovereign looked like he was asking about the blood and flesh on his hand, but he was actually breaking the skill. This Qin Mu should have learned to act like that too. The last step of learning was acting with the knowledge one had gained. It was evident that Qin Mu had already done it. Chijiryu smiled at him. This place isn't the most suitable for you guys to fight. The army of the devils is right in front, and they can easily break through, destroying your god city that looks incomparably magnificent. It will be very easy for the army of the devils to rush straight here and eliminate all of you. Sun Sovereign is also worried that all of you will work together to kill him and then me. You guys are worried about your own lives and he is worried about my safety, so why don't we change our battlegrounds? Once he said that, Blind, Mute, and the rest looked at him. Qin Mu also re-examined him with grim admiration. He had originally thought that the youth was the disciple of Sun Sovereign, but from his words, he could see that he wasn't so simple, he had some other extraordinary background. Furthermore, his words eliminated and resolved the question Qin Mu had asked earlier, which showed that he had extremely high attainments in Tao heart. Such a Tao heart even surpassed that of Xu Shenghua when Qin Mu had fought him the first time. At that time, Xu Shenghua's Tao heart had almost crumbled completely the beating Qin Mu had given it. Mua, this person will a tough enemy for you, Blind said softly. He can see through the facade of the god city Death had painted. Fu Riluo and the rest of the devil gods couldn't do it, so it's obvious that this person has astonishing attainments in divine eyes. Qin Mu nodded. Since the youth was able to see through Death's painting, he indeed had to be outstanding. He immediately asked, Brother, how do I address you? Chijiryu smiled lightly, and Sun Sovereign said, this young master is Qi Jiui. Somewhat astonished, Qin Mu said leisurely, he means intelligent ever since you were young, and you are exceptionally noble. Jiui means that you are so intelligent that one head couldn't contain your wisdom, so you need 9. I've heard that Jiui usually refers to an ancient parasol tree, the wood on which a phoenix perches. In other words, it's a place where a phoenix lives. Jiui sometimes means phoenix too. Young Master Qi, you aren't human. Qi Jiui looked at him in astonishment. Brother Qin is extremely knowledgeable. May I ask, who did you learn from? Qin Mu raised his hand to invite Def over and said solemnly, my teacher, Art Saint Def. Qi Jiui greeted him and praised, since you are the Art Saint, this city must be your work. It is truly a magnificent sight. You deserve respect from me. Def accepted the greeting with an arrogant expression. Qin Mu smiled. Young Master Qi said that this place was not suitable for battle, so where do you think we should fight? I heard Brother Qin is the heavenly devil cult master of eternal peace, so why don't we go to eternal peace? If we fight on your territory, I'm sure you will be more at ease, Qi Jiui said leisurely. Qin Mu's gaze flickered. Brother Qi, the journey back to eternal peace would be long, at least a couple days. Now that the devils are attacking Supreme Emperor Heaven, we can't leave for so long. Why don't I choose a place to fight then? Qi Jiui frowned slightly. In that case, what place would Brother Qin choose? Qin Mu pointed behind himself. Qi Jiui smiled and said indifferently, this city? It was drawn by Mr. Art Saint, so aren't you afraid of breaking it and giving the game away? Qin Mu shook his head. I didn't mean in the city, but before the 2 armies. You came for me, right? In that case, I shall choose the battlefield. And I choose to fight between 1,000,000 bold devil warriors and this god city. Brother Qi, do you dare accept? Qi Jiui raised his brows. Mute, blind, and the rest looked at one another, feeling somewhat uneasy. Qin Mu had said that they would be fighting in front of the 2 armies, but it was actually only in front of the devils. After all, the god city was only a painting. Most of the cannons and all of the gods were fake. No matter if they were true origin cannons or sunshot divine cannons, they were just there for looks and didn't have much power. This meant that if the devils attacked, they would be drowned out by the army and definitely unable to survive. Butcher laughed loudly and said, Mua is certainly the one with the boldest spirit. Nice. I shall also fight this god above the sky in front of the 2 armies. This bird god, do you dare? Sun Sovereign hesitated for a moment and looked at Qi Jiui. The youth muttered to himself for a moment, then suddenly burst out laughing. Even Brother Qin dares, so why would I not dare? Sun Sovereign, you're worrying too much. You put too much importance on me, and if you fight an expert with such a mental state, you will lose the advantage easily. Aren't you going to adjust your frame of mind? Sun Sovereign was astonished. Qi Jiui smiled. Since Brother Qin invited, in that case. Please. Qin Mu turned around and walked toward the god city while full of admiration. This Qi Jiui is indeed extraordinary. I wonder where he's from, to actually have trained his Tao heart to the point where it's no inferior to mine. Truly remarkable. Butcher walked up to him in wide steps. Granny Sai, mute, and the rest followed behind while looking at one another with frowns. Def said in a low voice, should we go up together and just get rid of this Sun Sovereign and the 9-headed bird? If we make our move together, it won't be hard to get rid of them. We could kill them in just 15 minutes. If we fight here, the devils will be able to see what's real and what's fake easily. Def shook his head and said, this Sun Sovereign won't be easy to deal with. A huge sun follows him around, and it must have attracted the attention of the devils long ago. They just don't know if the newcomers are friends or foes, so they are still waiting to make a move. If we fight with him, even if we are pressuring him, the devils will see that we had encountered an enemy. Everyone had grim expressions. If they couldn't get rid of Sun Sovereign in the shortest time possible, Fu Rilua would be able to see through them and know that they were using an empty city as a ruse. And if Sun Sovereign destroyed the god city during battle, Fu Rilua would also see through the facade. The best route was exactly what Qin Mu had suggested, to challenge them openly in front of the devils, defeating and even killing Sun Sovereign and Qi Jiui. Even though it was dangerous, it was the option with the best chances of survival. In the main camp of the devils, devil gods were executing their devil eyes to survey the god city on the other side. Fu Riluo couldn't hold back any longer and was about to take down the god city when its gate suddenly opened wide. Astonished, Fu Riluo swallowed back the words he'd been about to say. He raised his hand to stop the devil army that was ready to attack. Qin Mu, Qi Jiui, Butcher, and Sun Sovereign continued to walk forward. It looked like they were planning to walk straight into the devil's main camp. Only these few people have walked out of the city. What tricks is true God Pang you playing? Fu Riluo sneered and said, merely a few weak gods. Who is coming with me to slay them? Wait a moment. When Lu Li saw Qi Jiui and Sun Sovereign, her face changed drastically. She hurriedly raised her hand and said solemnly, the person on the other side is a noble from the celestial heavens. Fu Riluo, you cannot offend a noble. Fu Riluo's heart jumped. Noble? Could it be? Lu Li's expression flickered between. Her teeth clenched and ground against each other. She sneered, it indeed is a noble that has descended. Why would this noble come down to the lower bound? Could the higher-ups already know about the little brat of Qin family and have come here to reap the benefits? It must be those fellows in Yudu that betrayed me. Damn it, was it Han Lei or Xian Ming? Or could it be Zhu Huang? They're sure good at backstabbing me, but when I want them to help me, they don't even bother moving their asses. Dao friend Lu, that youth with the surname Qin is right beside the noble you have mentioned. Fu Riluo said with a solemn expression. Lu Li's gaze landed on Qin Mu, and he sensed it. He raised his head to look at the main camp. He didn't know whose gaze it was, but he still revealed a radiant smile. Lu Li snorted. He has grown much prettier. When he was young, he was so ugly he could scare a ghost to death. Qin Mu stopped 100 miles in front of the devil's main camp and said in a loud and clear voice, Heavenly Saint Cult Master Qin Mu pays his respects to all the heroes of the devil race and the heroes of the celestial heavens. May I ask, outstanding talents of the devil race, is there any of you who dare to come and teach me a lesson? His voice took a moment to reach the main camp of the devils. Even though it was very faint, it still clearly fell into the ears of numerous devil gods. Their expression flickered between. Among the disciples of the devil gods, the devil experts on the same realm as Qin Mu had basically all been killed by him. Experts of celestial being realm, life and death realm, and divine bridge realm can also come forward to teach me a lesson. Qin Mu's voice continued to ring loud and clear. Those with lower cultivation can come as well. I will seal my divine treasure and fight you fairly. Does anyone dare to fight me? After a moment without any reply, his voice rang throughout the main camp of the devils again. The devils are cowards. Brother Qi, looks like you and I will have to fight by ourselves. Suddenly, the gate of the devil's main camp opened, and angry devil experts rushed out. They shouted furiously, little human brat, how dare you bully us for having no devils? Qin Mu revealed a smile and said to Qi Jiui, what do you think about us having a small warm-up first? Could Cult Master Qin want to get someone else to do the dirty work? Sun Sovereign looked at Qin Mu and said unpleasantly, even though Cult Master Qin is young, he doesn't lack cleverness. Young Master Qi, don't be tricked by him. If you kill a devil, we will fall into a passive state. Qi Jiui was unconcerned. Sun Sovereign, don't worry. The devils are merely dogs raised by the celestial heavens, and there's no problem if a few dogs die. Brother Qin wants to take this chance to see my abilities, and I'd like to see his too. Qin Mu smiled. Brother Qi's breadth of mind is much wider than that of Sun Sovereign. He has to speak to Brother Qi in a meek tone and worries too much. This should be because his position is much lower than yours. Brother Qi is probably from the so-called celestial heavens? And the reason you came is to find me. Qin Jiui gave him a small smile. Brother Qin is intelligent. You should be called Qin Yi instead. It wasn't difficult for me to guess your motive, so I can't really be called intelligent or named Jiui. When you tried to invite me to fight in eternal peace, there had to have been a reason for that. Qi Jui was secretly astonished, but on the outside, he just smiled without saying anything. Qin Mu raised his head to look at the three-legged god. Sun Sovereign, why aren't you putting your mind on the battle with Grandpa Butcher? You'll die at the first knife slash like that. Just wait and see if my words are accurate or not. Sun Sovereign snorted. Cult Master Qin wants to crush my Dao heart. Qin Mu didn't pay attention to him and looked over to the other side. He saw numerous devil experts rushing at them one after another. There were quite a number of experts on Divine Bridge Realm and those of Five Elements Realm and Celestial Being Realm. They had to have been agitated by him and couldn't resist rushing over. Devils revered martial prowess, and every divine arts practitioner of theirs was ranked among them on every realm. Qin Mu had fought some experts of 7 Stars Realm in Li City before, and they were all devil gods' disciples which were ranked top 10. Among them, Zhehuali had been ranked first. The other realms also had similar rankings. There were no divine arts practitioners of 7 Stars Realm and 6 Directions Realm that came over, as basically all the experts of the 2 realms were killed by Qin Mu. Everyone rushed over with fierce auras, but one of the strong practitioners of Divine Bridge Realm took the lead. Everyone stopped upon seeing that. The strong practitioner of Divine Bridge Realm was already close to God Realm and was extremely strong, astonishing Granny Sai and the rest. They felt threatened. Even though they had patched what they were lacking in the technique, the period of time they had cultivated it was still too short. They were still slightly inferior to the experts of the devil race who had cultivated the methods of true gods ever since they were young. However, after some time, they could also train all aspects of their body to the realm of true God. Besides, the vital Qi human body network that Qin Mu had imparted to them was the door to technique entering the path. Such a thing covered all aspects to make one a true god. Not only did it cultivate the corporeal body, but also the primordial spirit, refining the vital Qi and improving the paths, skills, and divine arts. When only the corporeal body reached the level of a young true god, the person was still far from comparable to a young true god. Cult Master Qin of Eternal Peace. The gaze of that strong devil practitioner of Divine Bridge Realm fell on Qin Mu, and he said solemnly, "You don't have any opponent on 7 Stars Realm, but that doesn't mean there isn't anyone already on other realm. Shu Yi, Fu Riluo's disciple, is here to test you. Senior brother Shu Yi, what's your rank among those in Divine Bridge Realm?" Qin Mu asked curiously. "Number 2. Shu Yi said indifferently. "The first-ranked person is Tu Jun, but he's close to entering the Devil Celestial Palaces and is about to become a devil god, so he isn't participating in the battle. I will soon be number 1. Qin Mu shook his head. "You should go and invite him, for you won't do. I've already killed a disciple of Fu Riluo before, Fu Yuxiao, who was on Celestial Being Realm. His abilities were very strong, yet he was far inferior to me on the same realm." Shu Yi was furious, but Fu Riluo suddenly descended from the sky. He landed in front of the numerous devils. Shu Yi and the other devil experts hurriedly greeted him. "Respectable king." Fu Riluo raised his hand and signaled for everyone to drop the formalities. "On the same realm, none of you are a match for little friend Qin. If you aren't ranked first on your realm, there's no point for you to make a move and die in his hands." Mute, Butcher, and the rest were astonished. A true god had descended, and even if they all rushed him together, they might still not be his match. Fu Riluo's gaze moved away from Butcher's face and landed on Mute. It then landed on Sun Sovereign before moving to Qin Mu. The youth was alarmed and hurriedly made a grab for his chest. Only then did he remember that the jade pendant was no longer hanging there, it had been pushed into his vertical eye at the heart of his brows by Earth Count. Fu Riluo saw him making a motion of grabbing the jade pendant, and his heart jumped. When he remembered the time when Qin Mu lost control, he felt his chest hurting, and he laughed. "Little friend Qin, don't be alarmed, I mean no harm. I came out to be a witness, I won't lay my hands on you." Qin Mu let out a sigh of relief and lowered his hands from his chest. He bowed and said, "Fu Riluo is a senior and always fair. I admire you." Qi Jui's gaze fell on his chest, and his heart moved slightly. He revealed a smile. He really wears that jade pendant on his neck. Since I know where it is, it's much easier. Suddenly, a remarkable beauty walked over with her face was glowing. She appeared beside Fu Riluo, and her gaze swept past Butcher, Mute, Sun Sovereign, and the rest before landing on Granny Sai. The glow on her face instantly dimmed. The woman was also a peerless beauty, but before Granny Sai, her beauty paled in comparison. One was a remarkable beauty and one was peerless beauty. It was impossible to see them as people on the same level. When Qin Mu saw the woman, he probed, "Lu Li of Yudu." "That's me." Lu Li looked, but a hint of jealousy took root in her heart. She smiled sweetly and acted extremely flirtatious, but her voice was as rough as that of a man. "Peerless beauty, making me feel pity for you and even a hint of jealousy. How do I address this sister?" Granny Sai was about to reply when Qin Mu shook his head and said in a low voice, "Granny, Yudu spells are targeted at the soul. If she learns your real name, she will have methods to deal with you." Granny Sai immediately abandoned the idea of saying her real name. Lu Li chuckled. "Qin Fengqing, I have never thought that you would actually reach such a state one day. You truly disappoint me. I was planning to get the body of this peerless beauty to play with her. Also, this noble, is your surname perhaps Qi?" Qi Jui smiled at her. Qi Jui of Qi family pays his respects to Provincial Governor Lu Li. Lu Li's voice was still very rough, but her tone grew very sweet and piteous. "Looks like the celestial heavens can't trust me. To actually send young Master Qi as well, this makes me really disappointed. If Provincial Governor has no ill intentions, why does she care about me?" Qi Jui said leisurely. Lu Li sneered. "Since I'm already here, you will not bring away the one with the surname Qin." Qi Jui smiled. "I have never thought of taking him away. After I finish using Brother Qin, I can hand him to you." Lu Li's eyes lit up. "Deal." Qi Jui smiled without saying anything. Qin Mu frowned. Fu Riluo's action of coming forward personally had spoiled his plans. He had wanted to let Qi Jui fight with the devil experts and see what abilities this youth from the celestial heavens had and make him incur the hatred of the devils as well. However, Fu Riluo descended and prevented the strong practitioners of the devil race from challenging them. Lu Li, who had been hiding in Xing'an's life and death divine treasure before, had popped out too. She had controlled Xing'an to capture Qin Mu, but the man had turned the tables on her, chasing her out of his life and death divine treasure. She and Qi Jui were rivals, both wanting to capture Qin Mu, but Qi Jui managed to wipe out Lu Li's enmity with just a few words. Being the single enemy, Qin Mu now became a mutual goal for them. "My plans can't catch up to the changes. I can't possibly have everything under my control," he was getting slightly worried. "Rascal has screwed up," Cripple muttered behind him. Sun Sovereign took a glance at Qin Mu and smiled. He suddenly felt at ease. "Cult Master Qin's mind seems to be in some disorder. Your plans have been messed up. This kind of worrying state makes you vulnerable to being killed by young Master Qi. Does Cult Master Qin need some time to adjust his state?" "Yes," Qin Mu immediately said. "I indeed need to adjust my mental state. Grandpa Butcher, Sun Sovereign, how about you guys settle your dispute first?" The smile on Sun Sovereign's face froze. He hadn't expected the brat to actually agree. Butcher laughed and opened his shirt to reveal his chest. Raising his head to the sky, he shouted, "Damned heavens, I have scolded you for so long, and now I can finally make you bleed. Sun Sovereign, please." His knife will rushed into the sky and split a cloud into two halves. Butcher's fighting spirit overflowed into the heavens and landed on Sun Sovereign's body. Sun Sovereign felt the other's eyes piercing him like knives and was left astonished. He rose into the sky and shone brightly with golden light. His body grew taller and taller while the wings behind his back spread open. The next moment, golden feathers began to grow all over his body. With feathers covering his skin more and more, Sun Sovereign changed from a human into a three-legged divine bird that was glowing brilliantly. He became compatible with the sun in midair as though he was the golden crow within it. The golden crow let out a screech that was incomparably ear-piercing. Heaven knife, I cut you in half and broke all of your knife skills last time, so what do you think you're even doing here? Do you think I've done nothing at all during my years in disabled elderly village? Butcher pulled out his knife with a loud roar and rose into the sky. Each of his steps seemed to land on clouds. His body trembled and became incomparably tall and sturdy. The knife light in the sky instantly became incomparably bright, even overshadowing the blazing sun as it slashed toward it. Knife opening the bright moon ring. Qin Mu couldn't help becoming excited. The ninth move of pig slaughtering knife skills. B.A. Shan's gaze was blank as he looked at the sky. The pig slaughter knife skills that Qin Mu had mentioned were 8 skills of heaven knife, however, they only had 8 moves. Butcher had executed a knife skill which B.A. Shan had never seen before. Heaven knife had a 9th move. 9 skills of heaven knife. Knife opening the bright moon ring. In the sky, snow bright sword light gathered, and Butcher's body disappeared. Only incomparably bright knife light could be seen gathering like a bright moon as it collided against the radiant sun on the opposite side. In the sun, countless golden feathers gathered into a sword filled with true fire of the blazing sun. The weapon that rushed forward to attack. Clang! The golden sword true fire rushed into the bright moon, and the bright moon suddenly shone brightly. Like a true moon, it seemed to absorb the sunlight to reflect it back as moonlight. The light of the knife suddenly became several times more intense. The bright moon dispersed and transformed into a world-shaking knife light. Qin Mu was ineffably agitated, and he recited loudly, enlisting in Jade Pass, chasing barbarians in Altai Mountains. Playing the tune of the plum blossoms, knife opening the bright moon ring. What he recited was the knife secrets of knife opening the bright moon ring. From midair, blood fell like rain. Butcher's strong body stood between heaven and earth. He bathed himself in the god blood and blazing fire while his heaven knife flowed with light after slicing apart the sun. He laughed loudly and said, "The beatings of drum rumbled on the sea, the aura of soldiers poured into the clouds." Hoping to behead a heavenly god, chasing them out of Innocence Pass. At that moment, a human youth carrying a demon knife on his back walked out from the devil's main camp and raised his head. His mind couldn't help trembling, and he involuntarily fell into a comprehension. Sun Sovereign's head fell, crashing in front of the devil's main camp with a loud explosion. This video will end here.